Working?
You can take the mic off the stage if you want to. It's up to you.
Yeah, it'll be alright for now. So I've never done this before. This should be fun. Let me find my notes, because like I said. First off, I want to thank our hosts, Cody and Mary Beth. Appreciate y'all. I had a friend nudge me into this. She couldn't make it, but it's alright. So, I'm Brad. Hello. I spend a lot of time at work staring at numbers. I'm basically an accountant that plays Tetris. I work in shipping. So, I forgot to turn the other video on. So yeah, incredibly boring job. I mean, literally stare at numbers for 8-9 hours a day and just, it's like an accountant and packaging stuff up and doing lots of paperwork. It's incredibly boring, like I said. So, every once in a while a word just floats through my head and I think to myself, that's kind of funny. I don't know why yet, but there's something there. And that's how I make a joke, is I work it backwards. I find a word just pops in my head and, I could work with that. So then I have to figure out how to set up a joke out of it. That's the tricky part. That's basically my comedic process. Biggest influence, anyone ever heard of Mitch Hedberg?
Yeah.
Good. You gotta love this. So if you've never heard of Mitch Hedberg, he was probably the greatest comedic mind of his time, unfortunately passed 20 years ago this year. Absolutely love the guy. Gone far too soon, unfortunately. So, let's see. My intention is to make you laugh, groan, possibly question your life choices in coming here tonight. Some of you know me. Some of you have heard my jokes before, so you know what's coming. I know. Yeah. So that's basically just a fancy way of saying thanks for coming out. Appreciate y'all. I'm no stranger to being up on stage, but this is probably the first time I've gotten to keep my clothes on. This is a little weird, gotta say. So, I'm sweating a little, but different reasons. So, yeah, let me explain the tomatoes. In the old days, in live performing arts, I think you understand it already. I can see that look in your eye. Okay, she gets it. If you didn't like the comedian or the singer or whatever, they would throw produce at the people on stage. And this tradition goes back hundreds of years, apparently. So, feel free. But hopefully your aim is better than my jokes. So, let's see, next note, start telling jokes. Okay. Alright, so, I was having a discussion with a friend of mine the other day, and we were talking about a mortgage. It's boring stuff, I know. But he asked me, he says, man, you ever look at the breakdown on your mortgage? I says, yeah. You notice how they tell you how much of your payment, you give them all this money. And they tell you how much of that money goes toward every little bit of your mortgage. He says, you ever notice that part with the principal? Like, yeah, it's pretty small, isn't it? Yeah, it's painfully small. You give them all that money and a little bit goes to your principal, the amount you actually owe the bank. So, he says, and then they have the audacity to give you a little graphic, a little pie chart. It's always a pie chart. And I was like, that slice of pie is awfully thin, isn't it? He says, yeah. You know, if you went to Village Inn and ordered a piece of pie, and this is what they brought out for you, you'd probably ask to see the manager. It's like, that is not a proper slice of pie. So, speaking of how everything works in my brain, I find some things are kind of messed up. Like certain words we use for certain parts of architecture. Have you guys ever questioned what the bottom of the stairs is called? Anybody? It's called the landing. kind of messed up. You know, it's like, That's like the letter S in the list. Who did that? Rude. So, anybody a gamer in here? Anybody? Yeah? Alright, cool. So, at least one of you might get this. I play a lot of JRPGs. And no matter how many of them I've completed, I still have no idea who Jay is. Then another friend of mine, he says he bought a game for $5. I said, man, I think you got ripped off. That's a lot of deer. Oh, this is a good one. So, and maybe you guys will start to appreciate this more after hearing a few of my jokes, but I finally figured out how to get back at the spam callers. I'm going to start telling them dad jokes. I will purposely answer this phone and go, aha. Hey, speaking of car insurance, have you heard about Chuck Norris? Speaking of Chuck Norris, did you guys know that he won a staring contest against Medusa? Okay, anybody camp around here? Anybody? I know Wyoming, a lot of people. I know Robert camps. You know what the scariest part about camping is? You barely know how much danger you're in. That's bad, I know. So, I had to redo my suspension the other day on my car. Every time I'm shocked at how much work that is. I swear I've cars forever, but I spring back. So, let's see. Oh, speaking of Chuck Norris, everybody loves Chuck Norris jokes. I know. I can see it on your faces. You guys know that he eats summer sausage anytime he wants? Yeah. So, speaking of hunting and camping and all that, I like to go hunting with dynamite. Anyone ever tried it? It's fantastic. You get a lot of buck for your bang. Speaking of food, though, I mean, I know everyone eats, so hopefully you guys can relate, but a friend of mine told me that he's going on a pescatarian diet. So I don't know, man. It seems kind of fishy to me. I know we got a couple of musicians in the audience. I know there's at least 5 or 6 of you. So this joke will probably be funnier to you than it is to me because I don't understand music, but I always had trouble playing the saxophone. Turns out reading music is hard. Remember. Speaking of music, I was going to write some, but I really have no idea how. It beats me. So, I got bit by an ant once. Anyone ever had that happen? I say, hey, knock it off, lady. That hurts. I feel a tomato coming my way. I just know it. Alright. So, everything I learned about comedy, well, maybe not everything, but most of what I learned about comedy, I learned from Mitch Hedberg. And one of his lines was, like, the hardest part about comedy is if I can't find a pen, I gotta convince myself that joke wasn't funny. Well, fortunately for you guys, I always got a pen. So, and for that I should probably apologize. Sorry. You guys know what kind of bird is really good at limbo? Anybody? No? A duck. There you go. Yes. Not quite done yet. So if you're armed and ready, this is gonna get good here in a second. Okay, so this next one I know by heart. It's my favorite joke by Mitch Hedberg. So, all right. So this one time I was in downtown Boise, Idaho, and I saw a duck. I knew the duck didn't belong there, because ducks don't have no business downtown. So I ran into the subway to buy the duck some bread, because I know a duck's opinion of me is greatly influenced over whether or not I have any. I said, hey, give me some bread. The lady said, sorry, I can't sell just the bread. Apparently it's against some subway regulation. 2 halves can't touch. I said, all right, put some lettuce on it. She said, okay, that'd be $1.75. I said, it's for a duck. Says, all right, that'd be, oh, well, in that case, it's free. See, I did not know this. Apparently, ducks eat for free at Subway. Had I known this, I would have ordered a much larger sandwich. Excuse me, can I get the meatball sub? But don't bother ringing it up. It's for a duck. There are 6 ducks outside. They all squeak for some reason. One more. They all want sun chips. See, I think that bread is the greatest joke on a duck. A duck loves bread, but it does not have the capacity to buy a loaf. If I worked at a convenience store and a duck walked in and grabbed a loaf with his beak and walked out, I'd say, hey, come back tomorrow. Bring your friends. And when you think of a duck's friends, you think of other ducks, right? I mean, he could have a beaver in tow. Everyone loves beavers. They build kick-ass houses. Lakeside? Nah. Lake on. That's all I got, guys.